If you watch Hormonal, it's a lot of stories that are stuck together, and what I wish to communicate is that the show itself, or I am hormonal. Like it's how Fleabag is, I'm Fleabag. I'm like, no, I am hormonal, and the show is like a clip or almost like series of stories that prove that yeah, she's pretty hormonal. Yeah, or what I am on stage and the way I'm performing, max hormonal. So, which is I think a lot of us, because hormones are just, I think they are the lead, they are the co-star in our life. No one is actually addressing that. They are the, when someone asking me who's your romantic interest, I'm like, my hormones, they really consume my day. Yeah, they really do. Yeah. And the four part is because I'm very bad at being a hoe, Pooja, because I was raised also conservatively. And most Indian girls are, yeah, we are so bad at it because we figured out like a lot of things now. Only like 30s is when I'm like, oh God, kissing is supposed to be like this. Okay, okay, okay. Because you didn't get the syllabus, you never get the practice, you're not doing open mics for this, you have to do special every day. It's crazy. So I think the hoe part is just me failing to be a hoe, but I'm not giving up. I'm still like putting my full effort on. I'm going to try and explore my sexuality, even though my sexuality is like, stop exploring me, please. I want to say that the show sort of centrally remains what it has remained, and the show has for sure grown because I think it's a more it's a clear show now. It knows what it's saying. Not that it didn't know before, but I think there's just it's a ease to it. Also, I think in the past 1.5 2 years, the fact that I've also moved like my like Dharma and is my agency, and Kim Sharma is the producer on the show, and I think that sort of it made me realize that my show is for a bigger, like, I never thought that my show was meant to be for bigger audience until I think you get someone in who sees that no, the show is has to go so many places, and I'm like, really, it does. Okay, cool. So, and that is such a and that's such a hormonal thing also, right? Like you need another, almost like I needed her to come on board for it to reach bigger people, and therefore the moment it started reaching more number of people, more number of women, and also the fact that I'm very clear now that my TG is women. I'm looking to build a community of women who will stay with me in whatever I make, whatever I endorse. Like I don't wish to give up on that you know uh, on that strength. So all of these factors are truly made the show different. Content wise, dude, it is in on a premise level and what it stands for, it still remains the same. So, but I think the one thing, and I don't wish to sound pompous, but if you watched me 2 years back and you want to come again, it's going to be a brand new show for you. I know it because I think that is something I do as a performer. Is I don't it's the mood of the day. Like what the show is, what hormone, because it's hormonal, you can't predict your hormones. So you never know what side is gonna come out. So absolutely. Yeah, I know what you're saying, and I understand that, but I think like even the choice of doing Walthamstow instead of doing the usual Soho run, I'm taking a huge risk. I'm trying to sell 1,000 tickets in London, and it's not easy. And really, male comics just do it so easily, and I think not to compare or anything, but I'm like, no, I want a piece of that pie, and so that I get the piece of that pie, and then other comics care, like if next time after me, if it's a Prashasti who does like 1,000, oh man, that'll be crazy. Like, because Prashasti would have a new 1,000 which could merge into my 1,000, which could make my 1,000 into like a 1,200 or a 1,300, or like a Swati Sachdev if she's doing like 1,000. So this is massively needed. But that perspective of like, take the risk, do it, let's do a production value, let's make it a safe place for women to come and enjoy themselves. I think that vision, as much as the show always stood for it, but to sort of see it and to make it happen, I'm very glad Kim came in as a producer. I'm genuinely happy for that. Hormonal as a show is pretty risky. I didn't realize it. But I have realized as I'm doing the show that the more the more it resonates with women, I realize the more it is risky because women don't endorse something that quickly, even though they seem like they'll pick up everything, but they're very lifelong endorsers. Like if they resonate with something and they're with you, then they're with you. So I think that sort of gave me a thought of, I'm like, okay, cool. I think as a, it's also such a, it's when it is day to day for a woman, right? She doesn't make it a big deal. Like, be having hormones or doing all of this is such a daily thing for you where you're like, why do I have to talk about it? And the moment someone talks about it, you're like, oh, do you also go through it because you feel like it's your own feeling? Nobody else is going through this chaos. And then you're like, oh, is everybody going through this chaos? And as it's a very fulfilling thought, also the riskiest thought, because if women really come together and know that we have each other, man, imagine the levels of success and levels of uh, just achievements we can get. And I don't mean just tangible achievements, even emotional and mental achievements. I see that. So but I think taking the risk for thinking in hormonal, I'm going to start doing 1,000 seaters. I'm not going to doing smaller rooms. I'm going to be doing bigger rooms. And I used hormonal to do that. I think that I was really scared to do that, and I'm glad I did it. And it's really paid off. Like, one of the riskiest thing we did was we did a 2,000 seater in Bombay. Now we did a show in NMACC, which is a stage for like musicals. And 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 we were literally like 17 days away from the show, and we got locked. Like, the show got locked with us. NMACC locked us 17 days before the show. We had 17 days to sell 2,000 tickets, and well, I'm like, no, man, we're not going to do this, right? We sold 2004 tickets. And that was too fulfilling. Like, I would have never, I would have, I'm genuinely the most tense 17 days of my life. And now it's Walthamstow. So, hey, London, catch up. Stick to the fact, like, actually, all the writers of Pushpavali, be it Naveen, Sumaira, Aisha, all of us were very clear about, not like, we don't want to take a moral stand. Actually, you can still hate her. You don't have to like her. It's on you. You don't want to get, even within the room. I'm not a big fan of her, but like Sumaira loves Pushpavali. She's on point with her. Or like Naveen doesn't get a Pushpavali, but then, it's so many contrasting views with each of us. What we try to do is not like right thinking that she's gonna get sympathy. Like, I am, that's my take when I'm in a writer's room and someone's like, but she's not likable, and I'm like, don't want to get into it. But again, I understand where the person is coming from. They say that the lead has to be likable. What they mean is the lead needs to be someone who you watch the whole show. Doesn't mean they need to be likable. They need to be watchable. They need to be interesting enough for you to follow them. It's just, and I do understand, like, you having a quote unquote unlikable female lead in a show, it does put off a lot of people. It gets in the way. They're like, oh, I don't like this. I don't see this girl in my life. But with Pushpavali, since she seems so non-threatening with her physique, with the round face, like, this is my constant thing. Girls with round faces get away with so many things. Because they were like, बिचारी सा round face है, उसके ऊपर वो थोड़ी ना करेगी, वो थोड़ी ना चालू है. How much you get away with him? No, yeah, I can see, Pooja, I can see you. Hello, round fellow, round face. I know how much you're getting away from with because of your round face. So, a lot of these factors just sort of came in together, but we never expected or wanted the audience to like her. We just presented her the way she is. Audience also didn't like her. Audience was either wasn't a big fan of her, or went like, poor thing. She needs guidance. But if like Pushpavali would have been a stereotypically attractive woman with a gaunt face and all of that, I don't think it would have worked. It would have been like, shut up, you're hot, shut up. Because that's also like how a lot of us have been raised. Now, pretty girls get things quickly. Not pretty girls don't get. What is pretty? I think I'm pretty. I'm a big fan of myself. But then for someone else, I'm not pretty. I'm like, fair, I understand. For me, yeah, it's pretty has very little to do with facial features than just the vibe. What if I'm chit chatty and you're very like, it's not working out for me? Then I'm not pretty for you. Fair. I know what you're thinking, because I weighed 122 kgs at one point, 120 to 120 somewhere. And I've lost 40 kgs, and I've realized I'd hit here now to realize I just don't want a hard day. I don't want stress. But again, I'm still a big girl. That's how much of buffer I had. Like, actually, according to the weight loss program, I should lose like 30 more, 40 more. But I don't see it. I don't see myself looking nice. Yeah, I have a feel. I just want to avoid any, uh, I would like to be healthy. I don't wish to be, I don't wish to have a heart disease because overwork. I am someone who loves working. So I wish to, sort of manage that. I'm of course insulin resistant because and also a lot of the weight that I have is heavily dependent on my hormones. So yeah, it's for me, it's not about diet or going to the gym. There is a lot of coaching that I've done for myself. Like, the day I started working on not hating my body is the day I started losing weight. Like day I stopped giving it a deadline. I'm like, you take your time, babe. You take your time. How much you want? You take 50 years. Go for it. We'll be alive for 35. If you're able to do it, able to do it. It just eased my tension. I'm like, oh, good. That's great. Like that just gave me so much. So the weight loss part of me, a lot of it was also to do with a lot of self image, because my image for myself was not the best. And if you just hate your body, then your body doesn't want to. It feels bad, yeah. Then it can be like, if you hate me, then why should I work for you? It's very bad. I don't know. This may be all namby pamby, but I believe in it. See, as very logically speaking, there are two parts to it, right? The stand-up part to it, where I think I'm very happy that we are now looking to play for bigger rooms, which is a bit of an issue. Like, as much as not like the comedians who are women don't want to play for bigger rooms. They want to play for 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. Who the hell not, right? But honest to God, Pooja, that we do need the audience to give us a chance. And I know, of course, it could be like, oh, but then why aren't you funny on Instagram? No, Instagram is so, or any social media is so heavily skewed that it's not like it's not fair to. Okay, sure, you can hate me or like me in it, and that gives me drives me the people in. Yes, but I truly believe that we need to join more newer audiences for us to build a community where one of us can make it to sell 10,000 tickets, or like that's genuinely something I want to do. And I as much as it's my effort as a comedian, as an artist, to be someone who can provide for 20,000 or 10,000 tickets, I also, it's not a it, I think audiences need to start giving me a chance. And I don't even want boys to give me a chance. I don't want girls to give me a chance. Girls can come, they can like or hate me both. I'm completely comfortable if girls are like, I like your show. I'm like, babe, Prashasti is amazing. Oh, but what about Swati? Have you heard of Shreya Priyam? There are so many of us. Jia Sethi. Like, they're just enough for you to, there's enough flavor. But if you can just pick one so that it can be nice. So that's, I think, one. Because the whole concept of boyhood, Nandagi, hi. I'm like, come on, can we get like one side of us sort of like, that kind of, not, I wouldn't say following, but I would say that kind of risk to put your money on us. So I think that side of it. Storytelling wise and show wise, honestly, like it's a bigger arch of comedians and comedy writers making shows. Like that is not, it's not easy, because we as a genre of people are very different. We're not making the same kind of web series that others are. Like, everyone loves to be like, why isn't there a Brooklyn Nine in India? I'm like, allow the comics to write it. We'll write it. Like Pushpavali I was very lucky to have had an Ajay Nair from OML, to have had like a Manish from Amazon and Aparna from Amazon. But it was the right place at the right time. But I'm like, when can I get that trifecta again, when I can make a show which is still spoken about? Like, you need to give the comedians a chance. And comedians also are very like, we won't pander, no, we'll be like, we want to write this only. But we also we will give you the laps. So I think storytelling wise, comedians and comedic writers, writing shows, not keeping big stars in mind, but making shows that can run season after season. I think that's the way ahead. Okay, I have a feeling that something which is deep, like, okay, like how hormone or hormonal, of course it has the potential to be something that you can do, like, write a show about, like act it out, etc. But I think it's very interesting also to see someone perform it, like that feeling and the explanation from, it's almost like you have a narrator on your show, and your narrator has a live show of their own. Like, imagine Friends is being narrated by someone. to using these 4 kids, these 6 kids, they were doing this, la 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 la. So that script is funny, and then you see it acted out. So I would say every idea I look at it like that. I'm like, oh, can this be on stage? Is this something that can help me engage the audience for an hour? Then yes, I can do it alone. But is this an idea which requires more people in? Is it not an idea which I can execute alone? Then I usually put it in a sketch format. I put it in a show format. Also, it really comes down to like sometimes I repeat jokes, like some jokes which are in my show, they end up doing in like in our web series or in something. For example, I remember in season like all of T Boy's dialogues in Pushpavali was written by Sumaira, and they can specifically be taken out as stand up as well because they're all set up punchline, set up punchline, set up punchline. Doesn't mean that it doesn't have space in a show. It has because that's how it is. Or like if you look at a Shraddha, Vasu's character as stand up may not work. Or if Vasu doing not Shraddha alone amazing. Vasu as a character doing stand up alone may not. But if you give Vasu the girls to bully, there it is. You have like you're like, oh yeah, I relate to that girl. I relate to Vasu. So I sort of like, same thought, which angle of it or which version of it, which thought of it goes into what box is what I think of. It's something that Naveen told me long back. We were writing Go Straight Take Left, and he said that Macha, you know what is cringe and what is not. Like whatever's cringe for you is already not going to go. Whatever's not cringe for you makes sense. So like you honestly, you have to be self-aware enough to be like, this seems like a cringe thought. I mean, then you take a call. Do you want to do the cringe thought? Of course you can. It's not a problem. That's what it is. But do you wish to take the second thought of it, which can make it less cringy? That's what it is. So I think the essence of it for me is, doesn't make me cringe. Am I aware of it? Cool. If it doesn't make me cringe, then it's in line to what. And by cringe, I mean that is it something that if I watch, I'll be like, I don't know if it's funny enough for me or not. Like it comes down to that. And if I'm self-aware enough, I know I'll get laughter for sure. I know the people around me will give me that laughter. It's insane that stand-up is the most honest for art form for sure. But it is also the most cruel one when it comes to audience. Like audience can be from everywhere. But if you're not funny, you're not funny. That's it. They won't laugh. Like they could be your biggest fans. But if on that day you're not able to make them laugh, they will not laugh. They will not laugh at you, or laugh with you just because they love you. Which is a huge test of time. So I would say, for me, that line has stayed with me for a long time. That hey, is it cringe for me? Then no, or then accordingly I execute it. If it's not cringe for me, then yeah, hell yeah. Which is also, see, something that's cringe for me may not be cringe for a character that I'm writing. So then I'll give it to that person. I'm like, oh, this person, this character, this thing is perfect. Like Kirtana in Royals may not seem like Sumukhi, Suresh being in Royals may not like sit well with you. But a Kirtana, I'm like, yeah, cute. I see her doing dumb jokes. Like, yeah, yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Cool. So it's also character driven per se, I think. There's 100% notes, but mostly I think a lot of stand-up comedians are very proud of the fact that they get to go on stage and like rule their narrative, which sort of offsets everything. Like I'm like, oh, I have my stage, I can talk, I can exactly say what I feel like. So if I have to do cringe or cool, it's fine. See, for money you got to do something, for name you got to do something. If it's the bigger picture, right? Like I wish, yeah, which is what I say. I do a lot of things to be a fiction writer or a fiction creator. Because writing, fiction creating, or fiction acting for a person like me cannot come easy. So I cannot put the pressure of money in fiction. So I need to make money from everything else so that I can be one good fiction representative. Actually, especially with Comic Stan, more than judging them, just watching them write stand up so regularly. Like they're writing 5 minutes a day or a 10 minute a day too. That is phenomenal. So honest to God, when I see that, like I end up doing more stand up. Leave the judging part, the critiquing part. It actually comes down to the action of, here are 10 contestants who write 10 minutes and come in every day. Oh wow, that is beastly. Like that's you doing open mics every day. So I think that's the biggest learning for me as a judge on Comic Sun, that push comes to shove, doing 10 minutes a day really can make it, practice makes a man, practice makes a woman perfect. It's very that. So that, and judging and critiquing, maybe it gives me a chance to sort of understand the template of it. Like I remember uh, uh, just smaller things, right? Like presenting a joke, or just you think like I have always believed that lines or jokes, of course, are very important, but they also don't, for me, make us special. Like I'm a very physical person. I need to use my body. I love my voice, using my voice a lot. I'm like, oh, what can I do with that? So it really gave me that perspective of like every you writing or you speaking is not the only thing that you have, right? Like you also have your voice, you have your eyes, you have your body, you have your, and it's coming out of body, you have a hand, your legs. It's just every body part can also, like, that's how Jim Carrey is so versatile, right? Like he can do everything because he literally treats every limb, everything he has as a good potential for comedy or potential for story. So that's nice. I was right in my approach. I actually will not change anything. I was very it sounds a little risky, but I was very careful about working. I was careful about not taking a lot of advice. I was careful about, like, picking the advice that I took. I was careful about whenever I was told to not take risks, I made sure I took risks. Because my risk appetite that way is higher. So all the things that I've done, I would tell her, listen, stick to your guns, do exactly what you want to do. And yeah, and I was also very, I really didn't, and I still I don't really understand the concept of repercussions. I just end up acting. I'm like, let's go, let's do it. And I think as much as that is scary and works against you sometimes, most of the time it has worked for me. So I will tell her, hey man, I'll give her a chocolate and I'm like, go for it.